You know what would save our marriage? Jessica said casually, swirling her wine glass. Logan barely looked up from his plate. I'm sure you're going to tell me. An open relationship. The fork stopped halfway to his mouth. What? Jessica smirked, leaning back in her chair like she'd just suggested something as innocent as a weekend getaway. Come on, Logan. We've been together for 7 years. Things get stale. Logan stared at her, waiting for the punchline. She didn't blink. You're serious? As a heart attack. She set her glass down and folded her arms. I mean, I've read about this. A lot of couples do it. It's healthy. Logan frowned. Healthy for who? For us, Jessica said, flashing him that fake sweet smile she pulled out during arguments. I think it could really strengthen what we have. I could meet someone, you could meet someone. His stomach twisted. Are you already seeing someone? Jessica's lips parted in mock offense. Logan, why do you always assume the worst about me? Because you lie a lot. Jessica laughed, as if that was somehow charming. I just think we should explore. It's not a big deal. We're both adults. Logan set his fork down carefully. No. Her eyes narrowed. No. That's right, Logan said, standing up. I'm not interested in sharing you, Jess. Jessica's smirk twitched. I wasn't asking for permission, babe. I was telling you how things are going to be. Logan froze at the edge of the dining room. And what if I say no? Jessica took another sip of wine, her eyes flicking toward him like she'd already won. Then I guess I'll just do it anyway. Logan leaned against the doorway, arms crossed, watching Jessica sip her wine like she hadn't just detonated a bomb in the middle of their marriage. You're really that desperate to sleep around? He asked, his voice tight. Jessica smirked without even looking at him. I wouldn't call it desperate. I'd call it enlightened. His knuckles whitened against the frame. Jessica, I'm serious. She set the glass down and stood, walking toward him slowly like a cat circling prey. Oh, babe, she whispered, brushing a hand against his chest. Don't be so insecure. This is just sex. I'll still love you. Logan grabbed her wrist, gently but firmly. Then why am I not enough for you? Jessica's eyes flickered with something. Annoyance, maybe boredom. It's not about enough, Logan. People evolve. Sex evolves. I shouldn't have to explain that to a grown man. He released her wrist, stepping back as if her touch burned him. You're right. You don't have to explain anything. Jessica arched an eyebrow, lips curling into that smug grin that made his blood boil. Good? I'm glad you. I'll pack your things tonight. Logan cut her off, his voice razor sharp. Jessica's smirk dropped instantly. Excuse me? You want an open relationship? Logan said, tilting his head. Fine, but you can have it from a different address. Jessica blinked, stunned silent for the first time in the entire conversation. You're not kicking me out, she said, crossing her arms defiantly. Logan smiled coldly. I absolutely am. Jessica let out a breathless laugh. Logan, you're being ridiculous. It's just a conversation. No, he said quietly. It's not. You already decided. You just thought I'd roll over like I always do. Her eyes narrowed. You don't have the guts. Logan took a step forward, so close their noses nearly touched. Watch me. 2 weeks later, Jessica stayed. Of course she did. She knew exactly how to twist the knife, filling the house with tension thick enough to suffocate him. Late-night texts, whispered phone calls in the next room. Jessica wasn't even subtle. Logan listened through the walls as her giggles echoed down the hall, every sound carving deeper into his patience. One night, Logan walked into the living room to find her on the couch, laughing at something on her phone. She didn't even bother to stop when he entered. Who's the lucky guy tonight? Logan asked, voice dripping with sarcasm. Jessica looked up, lazily twirling her hair around one finger. Relax, she said. It's just Tyler. Tyler. Logan repeated the name like he was tasting something bitter. Yeah, he's fun. Logan stared at her, waiting for guilt to flash across her face. It didn't. Jessica leaned back, legs curling under her, eyes flicking back to the screen. You could meet someone too, you know, she added casually. There's this app. Logan turned and walked away before she could finish. He heard her giggle again as he climbed the stairs. But Logan wasn't angry. Not anymore. He was planning. It was Saturday night when Logan's plan started to take shape. Jessica had dressed up, short red dress, heels, the whole show. She didn't even pretend it was for him. Going somewhere? Logan asked from the kitchen, watching as she applied lipstick by the mirror. Tyler's place, she said, adjusting her hair. He's throwing a little get-together. Logan raised an eyebrow. A get-together? Jessica shot him a look through the mirror. It's just sex, Logan. Don't make this weird. He laughed under his breath, setting his drink down. You sure he's not dating anyone? Logan asked. Jessica turned, resting her hands on the counter. Even if he was, that's not my problem. Logan held her gaze. Classy. Jessica grinned. That's what you married, babe. She slipped into her heels, grabbing her purse. As she walked past him toward the door, Logan's voice stopped her. You forgot something. Jessica turned, arching a brow. What? Logan pulled a single condom from his pocket and placed it on the table. Jessica's eyes narrowed, but he just smiled faintly. Be safe, he said. She snatched it without a word, slamming the door behind her. As soon as the house was quiet, Logan grabbed his keys and phone. It was time to return the favor. 1 hour later, Tyler wasn't hard to find. Small-town gossip spread faster than wildfire, and Logan had enough friends in the right places to dig up the address. By the time he pulled up to the apartment complex, Jessica's car was already parked out front. Logan leaned against his truck, arms crossed, waiting. He didn't have to wait long. A tall brunette stepped out onto the balcony above, laughing loudly as she passed a bottle to someone inside. Tyler's girlfriend. Logan smirked. Perfect. 20 minutes later, Jessica stumbled out the front door, adjusting her dress as she laughed with Tyler, who was leaning against the doorframe with his arm around her waist. Logan watched from the shadows, waiting. Jessica didn't notice him until she reached her car. Her eyes widened slightly. Logan. He stepped forward casually, hands in his pockets. Jessica, he greeted smoothly. I thought you were spending the night? Tyler looked confused, glancing between the two of them. Who's this? Tyler asked, his arms still lazily wrapped around Jessica's waist. Jessica shifted uncomfortably. I'm her husband, Logan said, cutting her off. Tyler's arm dropped immediately. Oh, shit, Tyler muttered, stepping back. Logan smiled faintly. Don't worry, Tyler. She didn't mention you either. Jessica's face burned red. Logan, what the hell are you doing here? Just thought I'd drop by, Logan replied. Seemed fair, considering you're spending so much time at his place. Tyler scratched the back of his neck awkwardly. I didn't know. It's fine, Logan said smoothly. She leaves out a lot of details. Jessica glared at him, her voice dropping. You're embarrassing me. Logan's smile widened. Good. I was hoping for that. Tyler cleared his throat. I'm just going to head back inside. No, Logan said, locking eyes with him. You're not. Tyler froze. Jessica shot Logan a warning glance. Logan, stop it. He ignored her. You might want to check in with your girlfriend, Tyler, Logan continued casually. She's upstairs right now. Real pretty girl. Tyler's eyes widened. What? Logan leaned closer, lowering his voice. Yeah, I passed her on the way in. Told me she thought you were working late. Tyler's face drained of color. Jessica grabbed Logan's arm, voice sharp. What the hell is wrong with you? Logan pulled away, eyes cold. What's wrong with you, Jess? He snapped. You dragged me into this bullshit game. I'm just playing by the rules you made. Tyler stepped back toward the door, pulling his phone from his pocket. Jessica's mouth opened and closed, at a rare loss for words. Drive safe, babe, Logan said softly, walking back to his truck. Jessica didn't follow. Jessica didn't come home that night. Logan wasn't surprised. The house felt eerily quiet the next morning as he poured himself a cup of coffee, staring out the window like nothing had happened. By noon, Max showed up unannounced, knocking twice before letting himself in. Morning, asshole, Max greeted, dropping a six-pack onto the counter. Heard you lit Tyler's world on fire last night. Logan sipped his coffee. Word travels fast. Max grinned. You humiliated him in front of Jessica and his girlfriend at the same time. It's practically folklore now. Logan smirked faintly, but said nothing. Max cracked open a beer and leaned against the counter. She home yet? Nope. She call? Nope. Mux chuckled. Dude, she's probably crawling back to Tyler as we speak. She can stay there, Logan replied, setting his mug down with a sharp clink. Jesus, Max muttered, shaking his head. I don't get how you held your shit together for so long. If my girl suggested an open relationship, she'd be out the door in 2 seconds. Logan shrugged. Guess I'm just patient. Mux snorted. Or a masochist. Before Logan could respond, the front door creaked open. Jessica stepped inside. Hair disheveled, makeup smudged. She hadn't even bothered to cover it up. Logan exchanged a glance with Max, who took the cue immediately. Well, I'm gonna head out, Max said, grabbing his keys. Call me if you want to celebrate later. Jessica didn't even look at him as he left. The door shut, leaving Logan and Jessica alone in the kitchen. She dropped her purse onto the counter, staring at Logan for a long moment. You think you're funny? Jessica snapped, crossing her arms. Logan leaned casually against the counter. I think I'm hilarious. Her eyes narrowed. You humiliated me and Tyler. Logan tilted his head. That's not true. Tyler did a great job humiliating himself. I just sped things up. Jessica's face flushed. You didn't have to involve his girlfriend. She deserved to know, Logan replied, voice flat. Just like I deserve to know what you've been doing behind my back. Jessica scoffed, shaking her head. I didn't do anything behind your back. I told you what I wanted. You told me after you already started seeing him, Logan corrected. She opened her mouth to argue but shut it, knowing he was right. After a long pause, Jessica exhaled, leaning on the counter. So what now? She muttered. Logan watched her carefully. You tell me, Jess. I didn't sign up for this. I'm not playing second place to some gym rat. Her eyes flickered with something unreadable. I don't love him, Jessica said quietly. Logan's jaw tightened. You don't have to love him to fuck him. Jessica's gaze snapped to his. Don't act like you're innocent, she said sharply. You enjoyed embarrassing me. Admit it. Logan didn't flinch. Yeah, he said. I did. Her lips parted slightly, but she couldn't find the words. I've been bending over backward for years, Jess, Logan said, his voice low but firm. I've ignored the flirting, the late nights, the bullshit excuses. But this. He gestured between them. This isn't a marriage. It's a joke. Jessica's eyes flashed with anger. Maybe you should have been a better husband. Logan laughed bitterly. There it is, he muttered, shaking his head. You can't even take responsibility. Typical. Jessica straightened, grabbing her purse. You know what? She snapped. I'm done talking about this. Logan blocked her path as she tried to walk out. You don't get to walk away, he said. Not this time. Her eyes narrowed. Get out of my way, Logan. No, he said calmly. Jessica stepped closer, voice low and dangerous. You think you can stop me? Logan leaned down, staring directly into her eyes. I know I can. Jessica's breath caught in her throat, but Logan didn't move. Finally, she shoved past him and stormed out the door. Logan let her go. Jessica didn't come home for 3 days. Logan wasn't surprised. She was predictable like that, avoiding problems until they either disappeared or exploded. On the 4th day, Logan sent her a text. Logan, come by the house tonight. We need to talk. Her reply was almost instant. Jessica, about what? Logan, I'm not doing this over text. Jessica, fine. 8 p.m. Logan smiled coldly. She thought this was going to be another argument, one she could twist in circles until he eventually caved. But Logan wasn't interested in arguing anymore. That evening, Jessica pulled into the driveway at exactly 8 o'clock. Her usual smug confidence lingered as she stepped inside, dropping her keys on the counter like nothing had happened. So, she asked, crossing her arms. What's this about? Logan stood by the dining table, hands tucked into his pockets. I think you've made your point, Jess, he said calmly. She frowned slightly. What point? Logan took a step closer, his eyes locked on hers. You wanted an open relationship, he said. So let's have one. Jessica blinked, caught off guard. Wait, seriously? Logan nodded. Absolutely. Let's lay down some rules, make it official. You get what you want. I get what I want. Her arms relaxed at her sides, and a flicker of excitement danced across her face. I didn't think you'd actually agree, she said with a small smile. Logan smirked. Well, I've had some time to think about it. And you're right. Why should I limit myself? Jessica's lips parted as if she wanted to say something, but instead, she laughed lightly. Wow. I mean, this could really work, Logan. He nodded. It could, but there's one catch. Jessica's eyes narrowed slightly. What catch? Logan stepped closer, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. We both play by the same rules, he whispered. Jessica hesitated. Same rules, she echoed. Logan smiled faintly. What's fair is fair. 1 week later, Jessica took full advantage of their new arrangement. Late nights, mysterious workouts with Tyler, and weekend trips with vague excuses. Logan didn't say a word. He let her believe she'd won. But he wasn't sitting around waiting for her. He was busy gathering evidence. Jessica was in the shower when Logan slipped into her phone. She never changed the passcode, too cocky to think she needed to. It didn't take long to find what he was looking for. Text threads, videos, photos, explicit messages not just from Tyler, but from 2 other men. Logan stared at the screen, jaw tight. She hadn't been asking for an open relationship to save the marriage. She wanted to dismantle it piece by piece while keeping him as backup. Logan calmly forwarded everything to his email, deleting the traces afterward. Jessica emerged from the bathroom minutes later, a towel wrapped around her hair. You want to grab dinner tonight? She asked casually, drying off. Logan smiled, tucking her phone back onto the dresser. Sure, he replied. Let's celebrate. She grinned. Celebrate what? Logan leaned in, brushing his lips against her ear. Our open relationship. Jessica laughed, completely unaware. 2 days later, Tyler's apartment. Logan stood outside Tyler's building, the envelope clutched in his hand. It wasn't addressed to Tyler. It was addressed to his girlfriend. Logan slipped it under the door quietly, lingering just long enough to hear someone on the other side pick it up. He didn't wait around to see the fallout. That night, Jessica stormed into the house, slamming the door behind her. You son of a bitch, she screamed from across the room. Logan sat calmly on the couch, sipping a glass of whiskey. Evening, Jess, he greeted, barely looking up. You told Tyler's girlfriend, she spat, marching toward him. Are you out of your fucking mind? Logan set his glass down slowly, his eyes meeting hers. You wanted an open relationship, he said evenly. I just made sure everyone was openly aware of it. Jessica's face burned with rage. You think you're clever, don't you? Logan smirked. No, I think I'm done. Her breath caught. What? Logan pulled a stack of divorce papers from under the coffee table, tossing them onto the couch beside her. Sign them, he said coldly, or I send copies of those messages to your entire family. I'm sure your mom would love to know how her daughter spends her weekends. Jessica's eyes widened in shock. You wouldn't. Logan's expression hardened. Try me. Jessica stared at him, trembling, but she didn't argue. She picked up the pen. Jessica sat on the edge of the couch, the divorce papers trembling in her hands. The only sound in the room was the soft ticking of the clock above the fireplace. She tapped the pen nervously against the paper, staring at Logan like she was waiting for him to break. He didn't. You're really going through with this? She asked, her voice quieter now. Logan leaned back in his chair, swirling the whiskey in his glass. I wouldn't be sitting here if I wasn't. Jessica scoffed, shaking her head. I don't even get why you're so pissed. You agreed to the open relationship. Logan smiled faintly. I agreed to watch you destroy yourself. I didn't say I'd stay. Jessica glared at him, but the flicker of panic was there, just beneath the surface. This is extreme, she muttered. We can fix this, Logan. You're acting like I killed someone. He leaned forward, resting his elbows on his knees. You didn't kill someone, Jess, Logan said softly. You killed us. Jessica's lips parted, but no words came out. For the first time, it seemed like she finally understood. Logan pushed the papers closer to her. Sign. Jessica stared at the signature line, the weight of 5 years pressing down on her like a vice. Her hand hovered over the page, and for a moment, Logan thought she might actually refuse. But then, slowly, she scrawled her name across the bottom. The second she finished, Logan grabbed the papers and slid them back into the folder. It's done, he said, standing. Jessica watched him, Her arms wrapped around herself like she was suddenly cold. "So that's it?" she whispered. "That's it," Logan replied, heading for the door. As he opened it, Jessica's voice stopped him. "Where are you going?" Logan didn't turn around. "Out," he said. "But don't worry, Jess. Tyler's probably free tonight." Her breath hitched, but Logan didn't wait for a reply. The door shut softly behind him. Logan's truck rumbled down the quiet streets, headlights cutting through the darkness. His phone buzzed on the passenger seat. "Max, she sign it?" "Logan, yeah. It's done. Mux, dim. Drinks on me tonight." Logan chuckled, tossing the phone aside. As much as he wanted to celebrate, there was still one last thing to take care of. Tyler's gym was still open when Logan pulled into the parking lot. He could see Tyler through the glass, laughing with a couple of his buddies near the weight racks. Logan stepped inside, the door chiming softly. Tyler spotted him immediately, his smirk vanishing. "Logan," Tyler said, setting down his water bottle. "Look, man." Logan cut him off with a single glance. "You can keep her," Logan said calmly, loud enough for the entire gym to hear. Tyler's friends stopped mid-lift, eyes flicking between them. "She's all yours," Logan continued, stepping closer. "But if I catch you near my house again, we're going to have a different kind of conversation." Tyler swallowed hard, nodding quickly. "Yeah, I get it, man. I'll stay away." Logan smiled faintly. "Good." He turned and walked out without another word. Part 9, Rebuilding. The house felt lighter when Logan returned. Jessica's things were already packed by the door, exactly where he told her to leave them. She hadn't even waited to say goodbye. "Good." Logan sank onto the couch, staring at the empty space where her picture used to sit. It was strange how quickly someone could disappear from your life, even after years of shared memories. But Logan didn't feel grief. He felt relief. His phone buzzed again. "Max, you coming out or what?" Logan smiled. "Logan, yeah. I'll be there in 20. As he grabbed his keys and stepped outside, Logan took one last look at the empty house. Jessica was gone, but his life was just getting started. Thank you for listening the story to the end. Write your thoughts about it in the comments, and do not forget to subscribe. See you in the next videos.